The wretchedness of earth is multiform. How is it that from beauty I have derived a type of unloveliness? There are no towers in the land more time-honoured than my gloomy, grey, hereditary halls. In the frescoes, the tapestries, the chisels, and some buttresses, but more especially the gallery of antique paintings, and of course, the library chamber. In that chamber was I born, thus awakening from the long night of what seemed, but was not, non-entity, at once into the very regions of fairyland, into a palace of imagination, into the wild dominions of monastic thought and erudition. My baptismal name was Egaeus. That of my family I will not mention. I loitered away my boyhood in books, and dissipated my youth in reverie, gazed around me with a startled and ardent eye, ill of health and buried in gloom. Unlike that of my cousin, I call upon her name, Berenice. Ah, vividly in her image before me now. Oh, gorgeous yet fantastic beauty. Oh, sylph amid the shrubberies of Anaheim. Oh, naiad among its fountains. And then, all is mystery and terror, fatal disease. And the victim, where is she? I knew her no longer as Berenice. The disease fell like simoon upon her frame, most distressing and obstinate in its nature, a species of epilepsy not unfrequently terminating in trance itself, trance very nearly resembling positive dissolution, and from which her manner of recovery was in most instances startlingly abrupt. In the meantime, my own disease grew rapidly upon me, and assumed finally a monomania character of a novel and extraordinary form, to lose myself in watching the steady flame of a lamp or the embers of a fire, to become absorbed for the better part of a summer's day, an entire night, with my attention riveted to the typography of a book, to lose all sense of physical existence. I fear, indeed, that it is in no manner possible to convey an adequate idea of that nervous intensity of interest in the contemplation of even the most ordinary objects. My books at this epoch almost served to irritate the disorder, largely in their imaginative and inconsequential nature. I well remember, among others, St. Augustine's The City of God, and Tertullian's De Carne Christi, in which the paradox of Christ being a living, breathing human, yet his flesh resurrected, occupied my undivided time for many weeks of laborious and fruitless investigation. In the silence of my library, she had flitted by my eyes, not as the living and breathing Berenice, but as the Berenice of a dream. The period of our nuptials was approaching. Berenice stood before me. I grew pale at her approach. A consuming curiosity pervaded my soul. The burning glances at length fell upon the teeth. The teeth of the diminishing Berenice disclosed themselves, the excessively white, ghastly spectrum of the teeth, pale lips writhing about them. Then came the full fury of my monomania. Alas, Berenice was no more, seized with epilepsy, and by night the grave was ready for its tenant. Berenice had been interred. I found myself in a confused and exciting dream, yet its memory was more replete with horror, and terror more terror from ambiguity. The spirit of a departed sound, a shrill and piercing shriek, seemed to be ringing in my ears. I had done a deed. I asked myself the question, what was it? There came a knock at the library door. My attention came to peculiar items, a spade, the tools of the family physician, and a little box. But how did they come to be upon my table? A menial entered wild with terror, and he spoke of a wild cry disturbing the silence of the night, of a violated grave, a disfigured body enshrouded yet still breathing, still palpitating, still alive. With a shriek, I grasped the box that lay upon the desk. It slipped from my hands and fell heavily, and from it 32 small, white and ivory-looking substances scattered to and from about the floor.